stitching this man. Y'all need to stop posting this man. Stop having this photo in the background of your videos. Do not acknowledge. The only way to have somebody amongst the forgotten is to not utter their name in the abyss. Leave it alone. And what aggravates me, and we as Black people know this already, they will perform who you are naturally and still what you deserve from the start. You got my Black sisters acknowledging the inappropriateness of that dark foundation. This is a Black folk conversation. This is a pigmented conversation. This is a melanated conversation. And here this person go, putting the makeup on his face, cosplaying blackface for y'all attention. And he's stealing the attention away from those who deserve it. Performing blackness with a do-rag on in a profile picture. And y'all are sitting there acknowledging it, allowing the light to shine on him. Let him be among the forgotten. Don't acknowledge. Do y'all not realize that? Let me say it again. They will perform who you are naturally and still what you deserved from the start. Look at these comedians. The most famous white comedians are the ones who pander to blackness. Did I lie? Getting millions and millions of views and millions of followers. Stealing what is naturally who we are. What is naturally a part of community. But when we behave that way, when we conduct ourselves that way, we're predictable. We're not interesting. We're not entertaining. We're not given the chance. We're not given the television show. We're not given the multi-million-dollar deal from Netflix. They will perform who you are and steal what you deserved from the start. Stop acknowledging the foolery, because that's exactly what it is. Buffoon behavior.
The darkest of Blacks would get called out for cultural appropriation if they wore this.
Okay.
This is black face paint. This is the darkest shade of the Youthforia Foundation.
I think everyone's being a little dramatic.
I'm gonna show you how to use that shade.
So first take the black paint, the foundation. Yeah, it's really nice and dark. We're gonna do a drop and then mix a lighter shade. Mix it really good. And if it's still too dark, add another shade of foundation. If you're struggling to match yourself, it's really a you problem. You just don't know how to mix the right pigments. Look at this beautiful shade of skin tone gray I created. You're telling me nobody is this color? Someone is.
Black women are complaining about Youthforia's darkest foundation shade, which just launched, and they're claiming that it's basically blackface, which is obviously disgusting and gross, and I don't condone blackface. And I'm not Black, and I also don't wear makeup, but like I'm so invested in the scandal because I just love like online beauty drama. And so I've been doing like my research, and I've been watching so many videos, and I've come to the conclusion that Youthforia thoroughly messed up so bad, and they completely missed the mark. And I don't know if you guys care about this topic, but like let me talk about it for a sec. I don't think Youthforia created this black shade for Black people to wear. I think Youthforia created this black shade to say that they have a super dark shade so that they can be considered inclusive. You can see in their recent promotional videos on their own social media pages that they've been trying to push this narrative of like, oh, we have the darkest shade ever for a while. They compared their blackest shade to Fenty's darkest shade. They also hired a really dark-skinned influencer and basically told her to try on the darkest shade and had her say, this shade is too dark for me, and then had her put on their second darkest shade and then had her say that that shade was perfect for her. They made a whole video talking about how they couldn't find a model for their darkest shade, that they had to like scour the world for like super dark models. And I think that they genuinely thought that that would have made them more respectable. And the thing is, I think it could have worked a little bit better if they were more subtle about it, and if their darkest shade wasn't so black. If they had created their darkest shade with like real human skin in mind, like if it wasn't just black pigment and they had like some undertones with the shade, I feel like their new promo like could have worked a little bit better, but they didn't. And the backlash is wild and pretty valid in my opinion. I'm not even a consumer of makeup, but like I cannot believe they made this bad of a mistake. Like, come on now. Even if there are people that like actually look this dark, this shade was not created with them in mind. It was so they could say that they have the darkest shade. Also, by the way, this girl, Gloria, is really pretty. Love her videos. I'm just so entertained, and I can't wait to see how Youthforia is going to respond to all of this. They have turned off all of their comments, and they haven't posted anything, so I'm pretty stoked. I do hope that Fiona, the founder, is okay, and I hope she finds a way to fix this. But maybe she should hire someone more culturally aware. What do you guys think about this fiasco? Let me know in the comments.
I'm coming out of retirement for this. For those of you who don't know me, nice to meet you. I go by Joni, and I am an artist specializing in oil portraiture, but I also work with makeup. And today's topic of conversation is this foundation shade. Is this even usable? And before we start talking about the practicality of this product, let's start off simple with what is melanin. Melanin is what gives our eyes, hair, skin, color. Everybody has it to different degrees. When you see characteristics like my dark eyes or my dark hair, it is associated with having more melanin as opposed to somebody with, say, blonde hair and blue eyes. There's many types of melanin found in humans, but specifically for our eyes, hair, and skin color, it is determined by the presence of eumelanin and pheomelanin. Eumelanin is responsible for dark colors like my eye color and my hair color. The pinkness of my lips, that's due to pheomelanin. So even though from afar my irises and my hair color may look pure black, it isn't. And if you have black hair like me, you know exactly what I mean when I say standing in direct sunlight actually shows the true hue of the color. Our skin color works in the same way in that paler people have less eumelanin in their skin, so therefore they have less pigment. When most people think of black things like black paint or black objects, we often think of the absence of color, but this is not at all how skin, hair, and eye pigment works. Like a person who has a very deep dark complexion is not because they lack pigment, it's because they have an abundance of it. Purely jet black people like this foundation do not exist in real life. When strong light sources like the sun hit deep complexions, they still reflect brown orange hues. That's also why when artists paint, we typically don't like mixing with black straight from the tube for our palette because it muddies a color very quickly. And just because something looks black to our eyes doesn't mean that it is black. Like jet black. Black is also an extremely strong pigment, which means it lowers the chroma of your color mixes too rapidly, and therefore you end up with these lifeless colors that are muddy. And I'm saying all this to show you exactly why this color still makes absolutely zero sense as a real foundation shade. This is Youthforia's darkest shade of foundation. It's not listed on their website as being anything other than a foundation, not a mixing pigment, not a contour, a foundation, a jet black foundation. After people test out their initial foundation release, they asked them to extend the shade range, and this is what Youthforia came back with, claiming that it is a neutral undertone. Undertones in foundation implies that there's a stronger underlying pigment apart from the orange base. Orange being the hue family that normal human skin tones range in. I swatched 3 of the darkest foundation shades from 3 different brands. All have been shown to work on people with deeper complexions. And on my pinky finger, I swatched Youthforia's darkest shade. See how the first 3 actually have an undertone? What is this? Adding pure white does lower the overall chroma of the color, but you'll get the gist. Even after adding white pigment and lowering the chroma that much, these 3 shades still have some sort of undertone. This one, absolutely not. That's gray. This shade does not have a workable undertone because it did not have a base shade at all. That's because this foundation only contains one pigment, black oxide. My favorite cosmetic chemist, Javon Ford, actually speaks more about this on his page. I highly suggest you check out his videos. Like, you cannot tell me that that foundation shade is meant to be wearable on its own, because it's not. You also cannot convince me that this is supposed to be a foundation mixer, because when you mix black and yellowish or orange hues, you get like a really weird, gross looking green. Not a normal olive green undertone, like straight up olive green. Nobody is that color. That is a booger. That is mucus. A while ago, Rem Beauty released these mixing shades, and clearly on their website it says that it is meant to alter, contour, or highlight. But on Youthforia's website, there's no information about it being a mixing shade. It quite literally just says foundation. Like it was never meant to be a mixing shade. Actually, the brand publicly documented that they made the foundation shade before they even had a person to match it to. So eventually, they pulled 2 random men off the street and said that it matched their foundation shades. But guess what? The darkest shade was still too dark for him, and the only reason that it looked like it worked on camera was because they sheared it out so much that you could barely see the products anymore. So please, somebody explain to me why they were blindly creating and releasing products for a skin tone they weren't even sure existed. They actually had so many examples online for them to use as a reference point. They knew that they needed to make darker shades and also more undertones, and yet they ignored it. This is their darkest shade, and this is their second to darkest shade. I don't think a single attempt was made to include as many undertones as they had with their lighter shades for the darker ones. Because what is this? Going from this shade of brown to straight up pitch black? You're actually crazy. And it's so disappointing to see because I was really supportive of their initial shade launch until I found out that they were shade baiting. And even then, when people gave them a second chance to right their wrongs, they still messed up. At this point, I think they should just trash the brand as a whole. I can't believe I have to say this in the year 2024, but just in case anybody else is still confused, black people aren't literally black in color, the same way white people aren't computer paper white. Please stop making excuses for brands that don't try, don't care, and refuse to take accountability. Use your brain.
So I just saw Kevin Leonardo's little apology video for the blackface that he did with the Youthforia Foundation. And honestly, it was just incredibly out of touch. And his main point was the fact that he didn't actually go outside with the foundation on and that he didn't put it on and make fun of black people, which is more so the definition of blackface. But I think my issue and a whole lot of other people's issue is the fact that the video didn't need to be made at all. Like, the foundation did not need to be put on your face. It could have been swatched on the back of your hand, palm, whatever. It just did not need to be on your face. Like, I've seen so many non-Black creators talk about the Youthforia Foundation and its issues without having to put the foundation on their face or put their foundation on at all. Like, I do understand that he's rage baiting, because with his recent slew of videos, he is trying to incite hatred from Black people for views. Like in his most recent video where he talks about why he owns do-rogs, which is how he pronounces it, it honestly makes no sense for him to own a do-rag. He just said that he got it because of what he saw in Pretty Little Liars, and it would make more sense for him to own a bonnet instead of a do-rag because do-rags actually have a purpose. And you know what baffles me is the fact that he has 1.1 million followers. Like, that is just crazy to me. And I honestly feel like all the Black people and all the people who have an issue with what he's saying should unfollow him, because honestly don't think he deserves a platform anymore. Because right now, his main content and what he's making money off of is the rage of Black people, and you know, that's not okay with me.
This is Jet Black Face Paint, and this is the darkest shade of the Youthforia Date Night Foundation.
I'm super stressed because I need to find a model for our darkest shade of Youthforia Foundation. And it was really hard to find models for our 4 darkest shades. So a month ago, we held a casting call to just look for real people, real skin.
I'm applying now the 600 foundation. The foundation is just too dark.
Found matches for most of our shades, except for our darkest shade. Reference, this is Youthforia's darkest shade versus Fenty's darkest.
You guys need to stop pretending that it's someone's shade when it's literally not. It's just the color black. The brand could not find a shade match in real life. They could not find a person who matched a shade.
This is Black Face Paint. This is the darkest shade of the Youthforia Foundation.
It's like, you guys can't differentiate these colors, and you're thinking that a dark skin person is going to fit black face paint. It's going to be a shade match. No!
After launching My Fair Share of Flaw, it's always my intention to launch this as a proof of concept, see if people even liked the base formula, figure out if the entire project is such a flop that we have to start over and everything that we've ordered just goes into landfill.
Not only in 2024 is this so disgusting and disrespectful, but this needs to be pulled off the shelves.
I'm super stressed because I need to find a model for our darkest shade of Youthforia Foundation. We reached out to modeling agencies in Miami, New York, and LA, and it was really hard to find models for our 4 darkest shades. So a month ago, we held a casting call to just look for real people, real skin. We found matches for most of our shades, except for our darkest shade. For reference, this is Youthforia's darkest shade versus Fenty's darkest shade. So now I'm on the other side of the world, and I'm street casting, which means that I'm going up to people and asking them if they ever thought about modeling. I'm such an introvert, so of course I dragged my husband along, and we are literally going to malls and cafes and asking people, have you ever thought about modeling? I'm a little bit nervous because we only have a few days to launch this, and we've already been ghosted a few times. It is launch week, so I'm super stressed. I hope we can find a model in the next couple days.
And was like, here you go, Asians. The Blacks of the internet are very upset with Youthforia.
The what of the what internet? Y'all get a little too out of hand for me, cause what?
The fact that it was on a wheel and nobody noticed. We got white, light, bright, Sprite, fair, air, all the way caramel, black. Every day I'm ashamed.
I'm back outside. Nigga that made me mad.
This is the darkest shade. Gaga takes it. Hello. Look at this blend. Not only is this one of the darkest foundations on the market right now, but Gaga literally took this foundation and she said, okay, I'll give you cool, girl. I'll give you neutral, girl. She said, you know what? I might even add a little warm in there for you. Because although we are dark skinned, we are not pitch black. The House Labs foundation literally gives us so much variety and undertone in the deep range, and we typically never see that. This is definitely top 5 for the dark skin girls. Top 5. The skin here is seriously unmatched. This is the darkest shade of the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Tint. Can we get into this blend? Can we get into this blend, Danessa? This is what my skin looks like with the skin tint. This is what my skin looks like without the skin tint. And you guys, that's a banger. But you know why it's a banger? She's black. That's how you do it. It's been done, it can be done, and the beauty industry just needs to stop being lazy when it comes to making tones for darker complexions.
I got these bitches pressed. Imagine posting on your page for me to see and I never do. Imagine being in competition with a bitch that never lose.
This is the darkest shade of the Made by Mitchell Bolt Balm, and do you guys see this depth? Y'all know how they don't make contours for dark skin, right? T, watch this. This is the darkest shade of the Made by Mitchell Bolt Balm. Yeah, zone play. Blend her out. Let's see if she's giving sculpt. Beautiful. And it just goes to show he really is committed to making inclusive products. Cause T, fire, Mitchell, you ate once again. Y'all are in the comments being colorist and racist. Because while y'all are on the internet chit-chatting if this shade is black or not, I'm taking interviews with the New York Times. Dark skin beauty girls continue to advocate for this inclusivity because if we got something to do with it, yeah, we're gonna make it shake. This is how you create change. If you could walk into a Sephora and Ulta and just get your shade of a foundation, a concealer, a contour, a bronzer, whatever it may be, it is essential to hush. If you are not of a darker complexion and have never experienced the things that people of darker complexions experience in the beauty industry, it is essential to hush. If you are not a dark-skinned woman, who are you to be policing dark-skinned women's experiences in the beauty industry? Sometimes it's essential to This is the darkest shade of the Win Beauty Foundation. Let's give her a blend to see what she's giving. You see this? You see this? This is her first complexion launch. And you know why it's so good? She's a black woman. That's what I'm talking about. This is a winner. You see what I did there? This is the darkest shade of the brand new Fenty Soft Lit Foundation. Bow! Get into this blend. Okay. Look at how beautiful. Yeah. Fenty Beauty has done it. They stay doing it. Every launch, fire. Every product, inclusive. And what about it? And who gonna check her?
Who gonna check me, boo?
Nobody. The House Labs Foundation, literally, you guys, this is true inclusivity. This is actually my summer shade. So it's a tad bit dark for me, but that's how it should be. Okay. Literally, look at that blend. Absolutely insane. These foundations were literally made with darker complexions in mind. Take notes. This is the darkest shade. This is shade Rich 10C. This is the shade I use in the summer. We also have Rich 9C. Ari gave the dark skin girls variety and tone, and we love to see it. This is the darkest shade of the Made by Mitchell foundation. Talk about true inclusion. Yeah. This is the darkest shade of the Fenty Beauty Skin Tint. This is the darkest shade of the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. Another banger. This is the darkest shade. This is Urban Decay's brand new Face Bond. High range. This is the Gucci Beauty Foundation. And you guys, this is the darkest shade. Y'all, the About Face Beauty Foundation is literally one of the best drops. Foundation drops, complexion drops in this here 2024. Oh, but you tried it on real skin. This is the darkest shade of the Made by Mitchell foundation. Look at how beautiful that is. And it's not jet black. Let's do a good blend of this and see what it's giving. OMG, Mitchell. T. Look at my skin. This is shade 20. I want to go ahead and try shade 19 as well. Shade 20 is definitely the shade that I think that I would probably go for. I want to see if 19 would work on me as well. Let's go ahead and blend 19 out. And that's what you call an undertone baddie. Yeah. This is how close your last two shades should be. Literally. Skin is giving skin. It is so possible to make shades for dark skinned women without using just black pigment. CI 77499. True tint, such tea. Which side of my face is the black face paint or the Youthforia foundation? T, you can't tell. You know why? Tar in a bottle. This is jet black face paint. And this is the darkest shade of the Youthforia Date Night foundation. This is black face paint. This is the darkest shade of the Youthforia foundation. A few months ago, I tried the darkest shade of the Youthforia foundation. This is what it looked like on me. I'm gonna apply some of the foundation on this side of my face so you guys can see Let's just go ahead and try to blend this out, you guys. Enough. Who is that color? I'm gonna wipe this off. Let me put the paint all over my face. I'm literally just going in with the face paint. We're gonna do some painting, and let me just go ahead and blend it out with the brush. This is the darkest shade of the Euphoria foundation. This is black face paint. Sometimes it's okay to say, hey, maybe my brand is not made for complexion. I'm gonna squeeze a pump of this on my forehead just right out the bottle so you guys can see that I'm literally not joking. We're gonna do a big blend of this, you guys. When we say that we want you guys to make shades for us, we don't mean to go to the lab and ask for minstrel show black. What we mean is to take the browns that you have made, create undertones, and do what you need to do in the lab so it's a darker shade of brown. This is the darkest shade, shade 600, and as you guys can see in the bottle, literally jet black. The shade right next to it is shade 590. This is what it looks like in the bottle. Here is shade 600. You guys, there could be like 10 more shades in between these two shades. In addition to that, when we go to the actual website and we look at the swatch, not only is the swatch online literally jet black, there's literally only 4 or 5 shades for people that actually have dark complexions. Not really for black people, for being honest. Not only in 2024 is this so disgusting and disrespectful, but this needs to be pulled off the shelves. This is the second to darkest shade of the Euphoria foundation in shade 590. Let's try it. We're gonna go in with a pretty good pump. Clean brush, let's go blend this out. Coming in close so you guys can virtually see. As you guys can see, this foundation leans very red on me. In the summertime, not only would this not work, also this is typically not a foundation shade I would wear. This side of my face, I'm gonna go into the foundation that I typically always reach for, which is the About Face Beauty foundation, and it doesn't have a pump, so I'm gonna go in with a lot of it. Clean brush, and let's go ahead and blend this out. This is the About Face Beauty foundation that I would say is my true match, and this is 590 from Euphoria. I'm a little bit cooler than 590, guys, which means Euphoria does not even make my shade. This is About Face. That's how a shade match should be. But this leans a bit red on me. This is shade 590. This is shade 600. How on earth did we go from this shade to this shade? There's no undertone, no depth, no dimension, and that's a problem. It goes far beyond it just being damn near black. I feel like we could have sat down with 590 a little bit longer, tweaked some undertones, added some more depth, added some more range, added a few more shades, and it would have ate. All that being said, obviously there are darker people than me. That was never something that I argued. However, I know that when it comes to the end of the spectrum of tone and color and complexion, I am of one of the darkest. I'm comparing the shade to black face paint because the shade literally lacks color at all because it's flat. It would not complement any skin tone, let alone the one that they're marketing it for. As you can see in these pictures, these don't even match the model that they're putting it on. Prior to that, the swatch page with all of the models literally just had a blank swatch of shade 600 and all of the other shades had models. So was this shade even tested on dark skin or did you just lazily put it out there? When I thought it couldn't get worse, the model that she actually decided to put on there, she street casted in Dubai, swatched both of the foundations on this model, and of course the shades didn't match because 590 was too warm and 600 was literally black. And then she went to go get pictures from a Passport Center photo booth and used that picture as a swatch reference. So